It really is such a great feeling when you leave a movie feeling hopeful about the world around you. Project Hail Mary was on my most anticipated list of the year because the book is such a highly coveted and highly praised piece of media over the past couple of years. I'm sure studios were scrambling to get something in the works as soon as it came out because seemingly everyone that read it loved it. I know people in my life that have read it and loved it. I'm not a big reader, so I have not read it, and I intentionally did that. Like, I could have read it before, but I wanted to go in not knowing much of anything. I like to do that with typically all of the newer adaptations. I don't like going in knowing and kind of comparing it too much. You have Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who obviously have spent a lot of time in the comedy space doing now a space sci-fi epic. The basic setup is that you have a science teacher who wakes up alone on a spaceship, and he's basically tasked with saving the world. And Ryan Gosling, obviously in the lead, a person I love like many others, so it's really just like those two big things had me really interested in it, and obviously the source material being so highly praised. And I came out of this one really impressed and thoroughly entertained. It is just such a blast. One of my favorite movies of all time is Interstellar, and I use that as a comparison piece because that's a movie that does leave you feeling definitely emotionally drained. It is such a big story. Project Hail Mary is similar in the sense that it's a big story. It's tackling many years. You're dealing with space, so there's different measurements of time, years past, whatever. Even though I love Interstellar so much, it is a movie that definitely brings so much of the emotions out of you. Project Hail Mary, very similar, does bring a lot of the emotions out of you. It can be funny, it can be heartfelt, but really it's one that I left feeling just hopeful about the world around me. And that is a massive praise I have to give to Project Hail Mary because it is a movie that is very light. You have this dark idea of the world is ending. Someone needs to save it. Ryan Gosling is tasked with that. And throughout, you do feel like the emotional stakes of that, but really throughout, it's a very, light movie in the sense of it's not very heavy. It's filled with humor and it's filled with heart and heartfelt moments that really tug on the heartstrings. It's easy to watch because you don't really feel so drained by this heavy idea. I'm sure there is a version of that movie that is fantastic too, that is dealing with the weight of it and really just drenched in the bleakness of it. But I really like that this version of this story doesn't really feel so heavy on you. This is one of my favorite Ryan Gosling performances in a long time. I really just love his work. He's in some of my favorite movies. Everyone loves him. He's one of the big Hollywood faces that I feel like most people just have unanimous praise for him. When you're an actor like that, I feel like it's hard to really impress people of just how talented you can be. I feel like myself included because I'm always just thinking about how much I like him. I sometimes forget that he can really impress me as an actor. I left extremely impressed by particularly his presence on screen because similar to The Martian, another Andy Weir novel, Andy Weir wrote both those books. The Martian is really a Matt Damon showcase, but this is not too much of just a Ryan Gosling showcase. There's another entity involved. But for the big chunk of screen time that Ryan Gosling really just has to do most of it by himself, he's just terrific. And of course, even better when he has the companion piece side mixed into it with Rocky. Rocky's presence in the story is one of those things where when the first trailer came out, everyone was talking about, oh my god, this is a spoiler, like this is such a, why would they give this away? This is such an important piece of the story, like it should be a surprise. I'm sure they could have figured it out somehow. I don't really know how you could have marketed the movie without him after seeing it. Like, he is such an integral presence to it all. It's not even really a spoiler because the movie doesn't really kick into gear until Rocky starts to become a part of the story. At its core, this is a really powerful story of connection and the importance of it. There's a reminder that you can have someone impact your life so greatly to the point where you don't even remember what life looked like without this said entity. They have such an impactful presence on your life, and they really remind you of the value of life. Like, I not terribly like concepts and ideas that this movie is dealing with. I think it does it just really wonderfully. Gosling's character, Rylan Grace, and Rocky, they just bounce off each other so well. The puppeteer and actor behind Rocky, James Ortiz, he really genuinely impressed me. The performance aspect of it, of the puppeteering, that's one thing to really be in awe of someone for, but another thing on top of it is doing the voice acting, the performance of it too. A lot of the great moments of comedy come from Rocky and him bouncing off of Ryan Gosling's character. And genuinely, this movie is consistently funny. Like, it's no surprise that Phil Lord and Chris Miller brought their just really strong ability to deal with comedy into a story that is filled with so much humor. I shouldn't have really doubted it, honestly. It should come as no surprise that this movie was just so funny. Quick side note, it felt so good to see this in a packed audience where we are all laughing together. It really was just a reminder of the power of the movie-going experience. On the technical side of it, this movie is a marvel. Like, the visuals itself, it looks just beautiful. I got to see one of 10 projections in the country, if I'm not mistaken, of the 70mm print of this film. It really just looks so phenomenal and crisp in the vibrant colors. This movie is so colorful, it just pops off the screen. You have the score from Daniel Pemberton, which kind of has this playful nature to it. It's filled with wonder, which is such an important thing in a movie that is dealing with space. Large mystery surrounding the idea of space. It's always been so interesting to me, and I think that this movie's score in particular really captures that. Academy Award winner Greg Fraser, his cinematography, just so beautiful. To geek out for a sec, one shot in particular really was just one that is sticking with me. There is kind of Ryan Gosling's character coming to a realization with Rocky. It's really one of the more emotional moments of the movie. And Ryan Gosling slowly is moving closer into the frame, and his shadow is kind of dissolving. It just looks just phenomenal. He has that cool factor, like making coming out of a shadow look so cool. It's just absolute props to him. Once again, the emotional core is so strong. If you don't care about Rocky and Grace in the movie really just doesn't work without that. And I think that they laid the foundation early on. You really get to see their relationship grow. This is a movie that is long. I did feel the runtime a bit. I never felt that it was dragging per se, but I just did feel the runtime. Because you're so invested in the emotional core of it all, there's one moment in particular where it really is looking scary for our two characters, and I felt myself kind of just overcome with emotions and genuinely feeling very scared for our character's fate. And I had no idea what was going to happen. Sandra Hüller, who really became an actress to watch after Anatomy of a Fall for me and I think so many other people, she's in this film. She is great. She doesn't have that much screen time, but you really feel her presence throughout the film, even when she's not on the screen. Like, I think that's just the power of her performance. She has a scene with Harry Styles' Sign of the Times involving karaoke, and it's one of the more memorable scenes of the film. It's very simplistic, but it hits really deep, actually. There's an aspect to Ryan Gosling's character involving kind of his past and his potential romantic past. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but Rocky kind of just asks him about that, and he kind of goes into it a little bit, and I was kind of hoping that they would have explored a little bit more until I got to the ending. And I felt that after having seen the whole thing and watching through it all, I was kind of like, you know what? I'm not really annoyed or anything that they didn't go into it more. I think that the Rocky and Grace arc and their relationship with one another, their connection kind of became the end piece, like the kind of missing puzzle piece to Ryan Gosling's character and his past. And I just felt that it all came full circle in a really nice way. You, of course, have to suspend some disbelief with the scientific aspect, and particularly their communication. There's kind of just one thing, a language barrier that you kind of just have to, okay, this is how it is. That's fine. It didn't bug me too much. And throughout, it's really just thrilling and entertaining. There are moments where you're on the edge of your seat. There are moments where you might be overcome with tears and emotion, and then by the end of it, it left me feeling hopeful. I really just, not many movies genuinely leave me feeling hopeful while watching the end of it. And I think that they really just nailed it. It's a knockout ending. Project Hail Mary ended up just being really terrific. It definitely lived up to the hype. I felt myself just really invested in it all. In comparison to The Martian, you know what? I don't really even want to compare. I think they both stand alone as two genuinely great space stories. And obviously it makes sense that they come from the same person, the same origin, because this is someone who genuinely cares about space and wants to give audiences a very entertaining story that can actually deal with science. Like, I'm someone who doesn't care about science at all, but I find myself so engaged in this movie and The Martian. Ryan Gosling is charming and funny. This movie overall is so funny. You have Rocky, who just became a sidekick that I found myself adoring. A story that definitely has weight to it, but it really becomes so heartfelt by the end of it. I really feel so pleased coming out of it. I'm going to give Project Hail Mary an A-. And I would highly recommend seeing this one in a theater. For the visuals and just the fact alone that this movie can be so immersive, especially on a big screen, you gotta see it if you can in a theater. Go see it in IMAX 70mm or just regular 70mm, wherever's closest to you, if that is an option closest to you. It was so entertaining, and I hope that you enjoyed as much as I did. Be sure to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and if you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, look forward to more content coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.